Hello, freak bitches.
They hated it so much because it was humiliating, and it got a reaction out of them, and I just kept doing it. It's so much. It was so much fun, and a lot of times Anthony, like at first, hated it, but then Anthony started to love it. But then Opie never loved it, and it was always kind of fun to do because I knew, like deep down, Uncle Paul he hates, so I would always do Uncle Paul just to fucking make him sick, because he couldn't get with Uncle Paul. Anthony, of course, could.
Are you more comfortable now doing it without him?
The radio
the
show?
show?
Much.
Yeah.
Much. Oh, yeah. We stopped liking each other. I mean, the reality is, I really mean that. I don't wish the guy bad in his real life. Like, I don't want bad shit to happen to him. But we simply stopped liking each other. So, but he was enjoying his afternoon show much more without me than he was with me. I got the morning spot for whatever, I think the company just was annoyed at him or whatever. They liked that me and Sam were hungry. But his afternoon show was good. I mean, him and Sherrod and those guys, they were having fun. So people didn't like it, they didn't like it, but he sounded like he was having fun. And he was loose.
What got him fired? Like, what happened?
What the technical reason was he had filmed Roland Campos, our booker, taking a shit. Now, I know Opie well. He filmed me doing it in 2009, but he was being a goofball. I don't think he was trying to be degrading,
right.
Just being an ass. And then showing it to, I think, a couple of the comics. And I guess, I don't know exactly, I heard about it after the ball had already been rolling. So somehow Roland got nervous that he was going to release it. And maybe Opie was teased. I don't know what Opie said to him. I really don't. But I think that it got back to one of Roland's bosses. And then the head of the talent department spoke to him. And then once human resources got involved, then things change. And I remember there was a clip of... It was getting bad, and there was another producer in the studio named Paul, and he was videotaping it, and I think he had been on Roland's side, and he thought Opie was being a dick to him. He's like, "You're being a dick to me," and Opie's like, "Yeah, because you chose Roland in this whole thing," like making it a public thing that was really uncomfortable. And then Paul goes, "Yeah, well, I thought it was wrong," and then Sherrod goes like, he was having fun. We all saw the tape. He was enjoying it. He was laughing. And when I heard that, I'm like, oh, no. He just said we all saw the tape.
Oh.
Like, that just made it. And again, maybe they were going to fire him anyway. I don't know. Like, they don't tell me that shit. But he thinks that the company was out to get him. I don't know. And again, I don't know what they said to him privately. But to me, he had 2 months left on his deal. And no company wants to fire you 2 months out because of the potential...
Lawsuits.
They would much rather let you ride it out and then just not re-sign you.
Well, Sirius is in a weird place because of podcasts.
Yes.
I mean, it's just in a very weird place. The idea of paying money for these talk shows that are going to get interrupted by commercials and to have to listen to them only when they come on and not have them on demand, it's such an inferior distribution method.
Well, they are on demand. Like now they're on demand.
On your phone?
An hour after it's up, you can get it.
Or an hour after it's up.
Yeah.
But live.
You can listen live on the phone and get it on demand.
What I'm saying is on your radio. Like if you're in your car and you can't just pick, I want to listen to Tuesday's Opie and Anthony show or Jim Norton and Sam show. I can't just pick that.
I don't know if you can unless you have a phone hooked. There might be a way to do it.
I
don't know.
Phone hooked up.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Right, but I don't think you could do that. Like Sirius Radio is only playing what's playing right now.
I think so, but
I'm pretty
I could
sure.
be wrong.
I mean, it is
you
on
might
my
be right.
car.
I don't know.
Car, I mean, I don't have a thing where I could just pick an episode.
How is a podcast played in a car?
You just there's a bunch of different ways. One, you can do it where you could stream it live through YouTube. Some people do that and you just play the audio, and if you have it set up, you can play the video. Some people do it where you're on Stitcher. And Stitcher is a low bit rate version, meaning it's the audio quality is not as good because it's compressed, but it's way quicker to download. So if you have some sort of a plan where you want to get less data per month, a lot of people use Stitcher.
Okay.
Or they just get it off of iTunes. But the thing about it is that if you have your phone Bluetooth up, you literally, all you have to do is press play, and it'll immediately play like whatever episode. Like you could scroll through, you could scroll through our stuff. Like if you go to...
It works with Siri now too on the new operating system. I think you can just like ask for it.
Yeah, you could play it for Siri. But if you go through, do you use it? Do you use iTunes or
iTunes,
the podcast app?
I never look at podcast standings. I don't want to get depressed.
These are all the recent ones of all the ones that I subscribe to, and I can just take one, click it, and boom, now it's playing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just
It's done
that's
differently on
incredible.
Sirius. Yeah, the app you have to use, but the on-demand is pretty good. But I think it's an hour after it airs, you can get it forever. I
That's
believe.
good.
I don't listen. I don't re-listen to the show. I mean, I never listen to our show. I listen to it on drives and like, wow, I kind of like it. It's new. We finally got Anthony back in the building.
He's allowed to come on as a guest?
In the building. I fought for 3 years for that, and literally right after he got fired, they let Anthony back in.
After Opie got fired.
Yeah, and I'm not saying Opie kept him out. I don't know. To be really honest, I don't know. I don't think that he actively kept him out, no.
Do they know the real numbers? Like, do they ever tell you how many people are actually listening?
Never. I don't know if they know. I mean, I don't know how they would track that. They may. But they don't. And a part of me is like, I really want to know because it will give us negotiating power.
Yeah.
And a part of me is like, I really don't want to know. But the fact that we're getting raises, I think we're doing okay. Like that's the only way I can tell.
Right.
Is that I know that they want to keep me every time the contract's okay. We must be doing okay. But no, I don't know what the numbers are.
It's amazing how quickly it became a different thing. You know, like I remember when Howard went to Sirius, it was like, wow, hallelujah, finally we're gonna get uncensored radio.
Right.
And then it became, well, it's still just radio.
It's still just radio.
It's still live, and now you have to pay for it. Now it's $10 a month. I mean, he made out like a bandit. I mean, he made ridiculous sums of money from it.
Sure.
But where's the future in that? It just seems like it's like almost like investing in. I mean, if you're someone who's got a piece of that, it's like, where's that going? Like, how are you going to keep? You can't even use it in a tunnel.
You know, the thing with Sirius, and this is like scary for job security, but they're really, Scott is good at getting big name talent, like a Beatles channel and all this stuff. They're good at getting good name, big name people doing shows.
Craig Ferguson's on there now.
Craig's
right?
on our channel, yeah, on Faction.
You guys are all on Faction now?
Faction Talk. Yeah, I hate the name because it doesn't say comedy, but whatever, it is what it is. It's us, and then Cavino and Rich, and then Ellis, and then Craig, and then Nick DiPaolo, who has a very funny show.
He's hilarious.
Nick is a fucking savagely funny guy.
I love that guy.
I do too. He's just a fucking raw, fucking bark out a joke funny guy. Like Nick is. Here's the thing about Nick. He's never afraid to try to be funny. Like I've done a lot of projects with him. We did Tough Crowd for 2 years. I've just done a shitload of stuff. Like Nick will fucking fire lines out, and I've always admired him for that because sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But he's unafraid. He's
Yeah.
a funny fucking dude, and he's unafraid to bark stuff out and be who he is. Like I love that. And he does a great show. He's a really surprisingly good radio guy, like with going to breaks and all that stuff. But yeah, Anthony's
he
doing.
did it for a long time with Artie. Remember?
That's right. Yes, I was
Nick
on that
and
show.
Artie show. But I remember watching the one blowout that they had where Nick was trying to do some read that they had
That's
to
right,
do, and
yeah.
Artie didn't just wanted to kind of fuck off.
Yeah. You can't let it get to you like that. We've had the blowouts. I've been through them. I've seen them. Me and Ant never had one.
I love Ant.
I just wrote the forward to his book. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but too bad. I'm proud of it. I fucking love him.
And he's doing a show with Artie now, right?
The AA show. The fucking greatest name. They had a great billboard for it, and it's really funny, man. It's
Now, do you
really
have to subscribe
funny.
to listen to that?
You do to the compound, yeah.
How much does that cost?
I honestly don't know. I do pay for it though. He offered me a free one, but I'm like, oh, I'll chime in. I'll chip in.
And it's doing well for him, that whole compound media.
Oh yeah,
thing?
yeah. He hasn't skipped a beat. His life is fucking doing great. Yeah, isn't that a great thing? Both are mugshots.
The real legit mugshots.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
They did it. Yeah.
Compound Media. I like how he called it Compound Media too, because look at the AA show.
A great poster.
Coming September 5th. Now, can you get that on your phone? You can get it on an app.
Yep, I have the Anthony
You can
Comey
listen
app.
to it in the car.
You can listen to it in the car. I love him too. He's one of my favorite people ever. He's literally somebody who I don't think I'll ever not be close to. There's no one creative. Like I love Sam. I love all these guys I've worked with. But Anthony, there was it's a comic thing that happens when you're going back and forth with somebody.
Right.
That's an energy you're exchanging. And with him, dude, there are Jim Norton laugh compilations. I never listen to my own shit. I don't listen to the old show. I can't listen to it. But those I can listen to because they're all Anthony just making me laugh. It's not
Right.
me saying funny shit. It's Anthony saying funny shit that every time fucking gets me. Like he would literally make me laugh like that wheeze laugh that an audience member gets.
Yeah.
I'm like, I never get to fucking feel that way.
Well, he's not even. What's crazy is he's not a stand-up.
He's not a stand-up. He's done it a little bit, but in that room,
Did he?
Yeah, he tried it a couple, like in Montreal a couple years ago.
No
just
shit.
to do it. Yeah.
After he'd been fired?
Oh my God! No. This is when Opie and Anthony were supposed to do a show together to host a comedy show in Montreal. I was part of the show, but Opie went home for some reason. He flew home a day early. He didn't want to do it, so Ant just did it by himself and hosted the show and started shitting on the comedians. And he was really funny. First time ever on stage, he was fucking funny.
Wow.
But in a comic room, Patrice said that about him. He said Anthony can access funny faster than any person I've ever seen. And Patrice didn't hand out, he was not known as the, oh boy, that guy doling out compliments again. Like that was not Patrice's reputation. But Anthony has that ability to reach in and grab funny from anywhere. And he's as fast as any comic we've ever had on. There's never been a comedian in there who was faster than him. They've been as fast as him, guys like Patrice or Burr or Genius. But there's no one who's ever been able to go in there and run circles around Anthony.
Right.
It's staggering how fucking funny that guy is.
Yeah, it is weird. It's like he's a comic who never became a comic. Like, that's how I've always felt about being around him.
Yeah.
And even Dice said that about him. When Dice was shitting on Opie and Anthony when they had a feud together, he was saying that Anthony's actually talented. That he's actually almost like a comic, but he never did it.
He never did it. And Anthony has an ability. Brewer's an amazing storyteller, too. An amazing storyteller. Yeah. Whereas Ant could do that about, and like he could literally talk, he would talk about like, you know, being a tin knocker and stuff I have no knowledge of or interest in. And he would have me on the edge of my seat listening to him talk about it. He just has a gift for explaining things and for walking you through it. Louis has that, the ability to explain in an amazingly interesting fashion. And Anthony can just jump in and out of voices and do impressions. And I mean, I never get sick of rambling about him because I got to work with him for a fucking decade. I got to work with the funniest guy in the fucking world for a decade. Like, as much as it sucks that it's over, like, I'm grateful I had that.
Would you want to do it again?
100%.
I mean, have you thought about doing that? And
I would love to do it with him and
Media?
Sam. I mean, me and Opie don't get along anymore, but I would love to have Anthony with me and Sam. But again, he's got his own show. It's not going to happen.
Right.
But I love Sam and I have a good chemistry and a comfort level. Like, I like him and I trust him on the air. And with Opie, it just got bad. I'm not blaming him. It's like, hey, I was half the problem too.
But what about you doing a show with Anthony, like a Compound Media show?
You know, Compound Media is, again, it's a more enclosed environment than Sirius is.
Right.
And because of gigs and other things I got to promote, I wanted to stay. And also, Sirius pays more. And I didn't want to negotiate against Anthony. I just couldn't. I was like, hey, I wasn't going to use him as a negotiation tactic.
Right.
I didn't want to do it. I couldn't do it. I'm too close to him. And I always kind of secretly wanted him to come back. And when he came back, the first day he came back, I mean, it was seeing that fucking. We went to a Springsteen. No, who played? Oh, Guns N' Roses played at the fucking the Apollo. So this was like right after Opie got fired. So I saw Scott Greenstein that night, or Andrew, and they're like, "Yeah, he can come in. Anthony can come in." I'm like, "Really?" They're like, "Yeah, he can come in." I'm like, "Great." I texted him, "Come in tomorrow." The minute he could come in, and but security hadn't been told. So I'm on the show, and I know Ant's coming in. It's gonna be a fucking surprise for the audience. But he's being held up at security. Because in fairness, they needed an email from Scott. They didn't know that it had been okayed.
Right.
And it took about an hour or 40 minutes, but he got up. And seeing him walk down that, oh, fuck, it was so good.
Look at him there.
Yeah, he was happy. You very rarely see that on his face. It was so
awesome.
good. But you just go right back into that. And Sam is so perfect in that moment, too. You just kind of go back into it and you flow and, you know. So I miss him a lot, but...